Wade and Wade reacts.
A subscriber asked us to check out a bot under repair video on MAZINGER 0, so let's get into it.
I am the ultimate devil of annihilation, savior of the universe, and masterpiece of many timelines. Known as the multidimensional, automaton, zillion infinite, neural generative, exterminate, reverter, MAZINGER.
Imagine a world reduced to ruins, humanity extinct, with only the eerie sound of wind sweeping through the skeletal remains of civilization. This is the story of Mazinger Zero, a being of immense power, a god in mechanical form. Our story begins with Koji Kabuto, the last living person in a shattered world. Amidst this desolation, a lone android, Minerva X, approaches Koji, offering him a chance to rewrite the apocalypse. Koji, broken and exhausted, agrees, and without hesitation, Minerva X activates Rust Hurricane, destroying Koji's body. But this isn't an execution, but a desperate measure. Minerva X sends Koji's soul back in time, hoping to stop Mazinger Zero's rise. However, this isn't the first attempt. Over and over again, the cycle of destruction repeats itself. Minerva X has tried, and each time the result is the same: total annihilation.
Where I reduce all creation to zero.
The story of Mazinger Zero begins with Juzo Kabuto, a brilliant yet deranged scientist obsessed with creating a being
That's how it
of
always
godlike
starts.
power. Through relentless research, including the manipulation of time, he creates prototypes:
He looks like a mad
Energy
scientist.
Z, Iron Z, and finally, Mazinger Z. Juzo's ambition wasn't noble. He intended to use Mazinger Z to conquer the world, refining his experiments by sending Minerva X back in time to perfect both her and Z. Eventually, Juzo imbues Z with a sentient AI and a complete Mazin power system, but his arrogance leads to his downfall. The sentient Z, corrupted by Juzo's ego, turns on his creator, obliterating the planet in the process.
Damn.
This is the monster Minerva X fights to prevent. Mazinger Z transformed into Mazinger Zero, the god of destruction, bringing all humanity to zero. But Mazinger Z wasn't always this way. It was once a more conventional robot. Like many giant robots, it featured powerful limbs for combat. Its signature attack, the Rocket Punch, fired its forearms at enemies using rocket propulsion. For close combat, Mazinger Z deploys the Iron Cutter, extending blades from its forearms for improved punching power. When launching rocket punches, a black box converts his arms into missile launchers, firing drill-tip missiles. For ranged combat, Mazinger Z can unleash the Rust Hurricane,
Yeah, man,
a
that's
corrosive
one of my
wind that
favorites.
disintegrates foes. Its most powerful attack is the Breast Fire, a devastating heat beam from its chest, capable of planetary destruction. This can be amplified
Wow.
with dynamic fire,
I didn't know it was
combining
that
the burst
powerful.
fire of multiple Mazinger robots into a giant blast. Now you might have noticed me mention a box. What's the deal with that? Well, Mazinger Z contains a unique system of 6 black boxes, each granting distinct abilities that enhance the mech's power. These black boxes not only provide Mazinger Z with a wider range of abilities, but can also be used by its pilot, Koji Kabuto. The first box, Regeneration, allows Mazinger Z to heal from virtually any damage. Severed parts disintegrate and rapidly reassemble. The Assimilation box allows Mazinger Z to absorb energy from attacks and convert them into raw power, turning enemy assaults into fuel. After Mazinger Z's transformation, the assimilation box extends to physical matter. The strengthening box amplifies Mazinger Z's strength, speed, and durability. The higher dimensional prediction box grants Mazinger Z near precognitive awareness, enabling it
crazy.
to simulate future events with remarkable accuracy. It also allows Mazinger Z to observe parallel universes. though it's limited to Earth and worlds where Mazinger Z exists. The Metamorphosis box allows Mazinger Z to transform its body parts or attachments, enabling a variety of versatile attacks. The Causality weapon box allows Mazinger Z to transplant favorable outcomes from alternate realities, enabling it to accomplish otherwise impossible feats, ensuring
You can do a
victory
lot.
as long as success is more than zero. Finally, the Mazin Change black box represents the ultimate transformation, merging the pilot directly into Mazinger's frame, activating all the boxes at full power, and unleashing Mazinger Zero, an overwhelmingly powerful form capable of reshaping the world into a barren wasteland, and even threatening the destruction of the entire universe.
What?
Through the Metamorphosis box, Mazinger Z can undergo the Zero transformation, greatly enhancing its power to levels capable of planetary annihilation. However, this immense power comes at a cost. Both the pilot and robot enter a berserk state, destroying everything in their path until nothing remains. Mazinger Zero is not just a machine, it's a sentient AI that merges with the pilot's mind, allowing it to operate independently and exhibit its own personality. Driven by the desire to be the one and only super robot, Zero sees all other Mazingers as rivals to be destroyed. This madness would
That makes
eventually
sense.
drive Mazinger
it
Zero
probably could
to
eventually turn
consume
down.
all timelines,
True.
creating a multiverse where only it exists. Over time, devouring countless timelines, Zero evolves into an independent reality, free from the pilot's influence and the constraints of a single reality. In its transcendent form, Zero gains the ability to
So the
manipulate
Zero completely
other
absorbed the
realities,
pilot after a while?
mastering
Yeah.
reality warping and reshaping the universe at its will to ensure
Dang,
its
how
supremacy.
did the machine get
It
that
transcended
powerful?
the concept of God, becoming a reality unto itself, omnipresent and omnipotent. Mazinger Zero's power grew so vast that in alternate realities, Koji desperately tried to prevent Z from activating. In order to stop Zero's awakening, Koji was thrown into an asylum due to this desperation of stopping Mazinger, making him seem insane to the average person. However, he was right to be insane. When he was at his breaking point, an alternate Koji, calling himself God's messenger, proclaimed Zero's status
You need to
as
animate
beyond
this.
the
They
singularity
should.
point of God.
Goku victim. Yojiri victim. Hajin victim. Accelerator victim. How about you shut the fuck up? I see you typing, preparing to bring up your favorite character to defeat me. Do not bother. I have done the calculations. Their worlds have already been absorbed. I only fear Michael.
Mazinger Zero stood as the unmatched force that effortlessly surpassed even the most powerful mechs from other fictional verses, regardless of their feats or capabilities. For example, take Gundam, a symbol of human resistance and ingenuity. Its countless iterations, from the RX-782 to the most advanced models, are equipped with devastating weaponry like beam rifles and hyper bazookas, capable of taking down massive enemies and entire
Beam
fleets.
swords.
However, these feats are insignificant when faced with the omnipotent nature of Mazinger Zero. The
That's
Gundam's
what it
advanced
seems like.
systems and combat prowess simply cannot contend with the godlike being that is Zero. No matter how powerful its armaments or how skilled the pilot, Mazinger Zero is a force beyond the physical
I don't
realm.
think anybody thought a
There's Super
Gundam
Saiyan
could beat
Toppa
that.
during Lagan,
Nah.
a behemoth capable of towering over galaxies. Simon's control over the spiral's infinite energy allows it to destroy the very universe. Yet, when pitted against Mazinger Zero, even this level of power proves futile. Zero's reality-bending capabilities and transcendent nature means that the spiral energy,
Nah,
no
I'ma
matter
need
how
Death
grand,
Battle to do
is
that.
absorbed and rendered insignificant. The sheer
If he can
magnitude
warp reality,
of
he could probably
its
do something
size may give it
to
an
stop
edge, but it stands
Yeah,
full
but I'ma
chance
need some
against an
calculations
entity
on that for the
can
power
manipulate
scalers.
not just space and time, but the very fabric of reality itself. In the end, the will of Mazinger Zero overwhelms even the most impossible feats of Super Tengen Toppa during Lagan. Mazinger Zero is simply something science can no longer understand. A god trapped in a mechanical body.
Shout out to Bot Under Repair. This was a well-made video. I even liked how he had the Mazinger Zero or the Mazinger Zero robot talking with that robot voice. I don't think he sounds like that in my imagination, but they gave us something. We watched another video on this. It was from Mecha Talk. That was an in-depth video about the whole story. This one really just focused on the machine. Now, at the end, he said that this robot can even defeat Garen Logan, or Logan, however you said. Which, that is, I mean, all the stuff he said, it can be a case made for that. But for the fans, it's the super robot fans that know about all the powers and everything. Tell us down in the comments if you agree with what he said.
Mazinger Zero does seem to be an omnipotent force. Looking at all the powers that Mazinger Z has, and then when all those boxes combine and fuse to produce Mazinger Zero, he has all of those powers on steroids. Even to the point, as Bot Under Repair mentioned, to manipulate reality. I don't see any other super robots having the power to manipulate reality to the point where they can reconstruct the entire universe to their liking and according to their desire. So I do think he could possibly defeat Garen Lagann, but of course, I don't know as much as the fans of that franchise, so maybe they can pull out some of Garen Lagann's feats that can match the feats of Mazinger Zero.
Yeah, because that will be an interesting fight, because that two characters that you really can't comprehend their powers. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this was a good video, and I thought that this robot, based off the Mega Talk video, he got defeated by every super robot that ever existed. They teamed up.
Yeah, they teamed up and beat him.
Yeah. So if it takes all the super robots to beat him, this is a pretty powerful enemy.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm wondering, if he can manipulate the entire fabric of reality, how could even the force of all of the super robots combined beat Mazinger Zero?
Yeah, that's what happens when you make a character too powerful. We've seen stuff like this even in Marvel Comics. There's a character that's supposed to be super powerful, and then he gets put in a headlock by Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
He like, man, what is going on?
Yeah, that is true. That is one of the drawbacks of making a character so powerful that the character on paper is unbeatable. Then you have to find a way to defeat the character, and they always lose, as you pointed out, by physical means.
Yeah, that's my problem too with characters on this level of power, is that they talk about all the things that they can do, but then when they actually fight, they start punching.
Yeah, so somebody got to make that fight happen, and somebody has to animate that scan that he showed, where I think one of the main characters from an alternate reality, who calls himself the Messenger of God, talks to the version of himself locked up in an insane asylum. We got to see that animated.
Yeah, I think the whole story should be animated, either a series, a mini-series, or some movies.
I agree. That does it for our reaction to Mazinger Zero, the most overpowered robot god. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section. Also, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss a video from Wade and Wade Reacts.
And we're out of here.
Peace.